In this video, I'll talk about how you can save around $1,400 on an SSD for your Mac and which external drive will provide the best performance and value for your money. Stay tuned to learn more. My name is Joven and welcome to Project Beats. Before we dive in, if you like this type of video, help me out by hitting subscribe. So if you've been checking out those specs on a new Mac and you were thinking about getting that bigger storage option, but then you saw the price tag on those upgrade,
hell no.
I'm with you, man. Those prices are crazy expensive, especially when compared to off-the-shelf parts. Internal SSD 4TB upgrade option goes for 1800 SGD here in Singapore, and 2TB upgrade costs about 900 SGD. Compared to a similar or even better performing NVMe SSD, 4TB costs around 400 SGD. While higher capacity internal storage option for the Mac do offer excellent performance, us, or just me, mere mortal, don't really need or benefit from such extreme internal storage performance. There are more affordable options available that can save you money while still providing great performance. Once you figure out what kind of specs you need for your new Mac, although if you can't decide, maybe my previous video can help you. But TLDR, I recommend getting at least 512GB internal SSD. Okay, straight to number one. The first one that I think everyone should have is the tried and true 7200 RPM slow hard drives. You will be using these drives primarily for backing up your projects and archiving. Here is where you save family photos, videos, movies, and whatnot. You can also partition it or create a separate volume to use Time Machine or automatic backup of your Mac. These drives are relatively inexpensive. You can easily purchase 4TB or 8TB drives depending on your needs. There are two options for these slow drives though. If you frequently travel with your hard drive, it's best to choose a rugged drive. Slower drives are more sensitive to bumps and general handling, so rugged drives are ideal for digital nomads. However, if you mainly use the hard drive on a desktop, a powered desktop version would usually offer more storage for your money. Okay, number two, creatives. If you are an editor, whether photos or audio projects, mixing or recording or video editing, especially for mostly 1080 HD videos, maybe occasional 4K, my recommendation is to supplement your slower backup drive with a faster SSD drive. What you want to look for is USB 3.2 Gen 2. These can do about 1000 megabytes per second read and write, which is very capable to edit off of. You could also store virtual sound library in there, which will give you great performance even if you have your plugins active in your DAW. Here's a price comparison of the two drives versus getting internal storage from Apple. These faster drives are what we call scratch drives, meaning most files don't really live there permanently. You work on a project and dump them to your slower archive drive when you're done, and then you move on to your next project. And since it's a scratch drive, you don't really need that much space. 1TB or maybe 2 would usually suffice. I have been using a 1TB Crucial X8 drive for the longest time, and it performed really well as a scratch drive for all my editing needs. Now it is my dedicated audio and photo editing drive. I'll tell you why in a bit. On to number 3. The step up would be USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 SSD drives. Okay, I know it's confusing, but stay with me. This will come close performance-wise with a Mac internal 512 SSD and will get you around 2000 megabytes per second read and write speed, which should be very capable in editing 4K or high-res video editing, meaning it's also capable of doing other more demanding workload. These drives are amazing and not too bad price-wise as well. You could get a 2TB Kingston drive, which goes for around 230 Singapore dollars. The only downside I can see with this pre-built drives is they usually max out at 2TB storage capacity. So if you have a couple of 4K video projects at one time, maybe multiple camera angles as well. 2 terabyte might not be enough. You would want to go into DIY external storage, which leads me to my next point. Number 4, high-speed, large-capacity DIY USB4 SSD. In this option, you could build your own with up to 8 terabyte external SSD, depending on which enclosure you get. Again, none of these external drives will match or compete with the crazy high speed of the Mac's internal high-capacity drives due to Thunderbolt limitations, but these don't cost an arm and a leg. Okay, before we go further, here is a quick unboxing of my external USB 4. I ended up tucking it under this monitor stand that I have. It comes with 2 types of heat pads. I used the thicker one. The SSD I got was the Crucial P3 Plus. It was on sale, so I grabbed one even though I know it won't even get close to its max performance. For formatting, I used APFS. This will maximize its performance. And then, of course, the obligatory speed test. I got upwards of 2500 read and write speed, which I think is really impressive. In the future, I plan on adding a separate volume in it so I can install the new Mac OS Sonoma. This way, I can switch back and forth with Ventura for compatibility reasons. You editors will know what I mean. Performance comparison, the internal 2 terabyte drive in my MacBook Pro is about 4,000 to 5,000 megabytes per second read and write. And then I also tried transferring files to the new USB 4 drive. And as you can see, 156 gigabyte folder took about 3 minutes to transfer. Okay, this Acasis, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, this Thunderbolt 3 or 4 compatible USB 4 enclosure, it supports 4 terabyte maximum storage. There are other models or other brands that supports up to 8 terabyte, but I didn't feel the need of getting an 8 terabyte external storage, so I went with 4 terabyte. I got pretty good speeds out of it, and there are other reports that says they got it to read about 3,000 megabytes per second using other NVMe. I think it was Samsung 980 or something like that. But mostly those are just 2 terabyte sticks. Personally, I wanted to get a 4 terabyte drive, so I made a slight compromise on speed to get double the storage. And I think it's worth it. If you want to do this build, do note that you don't need to get the latest, fastest NVMe drives because the Thunderbolt speed will typically cap out at around 3,000 megabytes per second read-write speed at best in real life anyway. So any older NVMe drive will do, but always check for compatibility with your enclosure. As for my short-term review of it, I used it to edit the previous video that was shot on 4K 10-bit. No hiccups, no problems whatsoever. The heat pads and the passive cooling of the case work really well. I'm going to be editing this video on it as well and all future videos. I think it's a great SSD kit for the money. And here is a price comparison on the screen versus Mac's internal drives. The speed of the Mac's internal SSD drives and the performance is more than double, but this DIY kit gets the job done for me. And honestly, I don't really need upwards of 6,000 megabytes read and write speed for my personal workflow. Of course, these are just some of the budget options for storage solution. You could opt for different drives for different projects, whatever you think is best for your workflow. There are also high-end editing storage solution. You'll be stepping into NAS territory, which there are plenty of videos available online. I will stick with music production and editing content besides this one. But if I get there, I'll probably share my experience and findings with you guys as well. How about you? What storage solution are you looking to get? And which ones do you think solves your storage solution needs? If you have a great budget-friendly storage solution, do share it in the comments below. Perhaps it could be of use to someone or everyone. That's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, drop me a like. If you like to support this channel, best way is by subscribing. To see a bit more IRL, head over to my Instagram and let's connect over there. All right, see you in the next project. This is a mic, by the way. Just in case you're wondering. And it's 1:30 in the morning. Just saying. Okay, bye.